Extra, extra, read all about it. Welcome to the Empire's Recap, and today we will be going over the chaos and drama of our somewhat respected rulers. This week is rather short. The run-up to and through the winter holidays had everyone busy, but the dramatics never stop on the Hermit/Empire server, and we'll see you all next year. We begin with Pixelriffs at a loss for words. It seems that DocM77 has somehow managed to bring the actual Ender Dragon into the overworld, and Pix is reminded that even he never knows what will happen on Hermitcraft. Doc says the dragon is safe right now, but Pix is giving it a wide berth, just in case. Instead, he's heading out to meet up with Zedaf, who wants some help with his next custom advancement, or Zedvancement. Time to answer the absolutely new age-old question: how many pigs can you chain together with leads and riders? Pix loves finding out the answer to ridiculous questions, so he agrees to help put the pigs through their paces. He has the idea for a swimming pool, and in his need for Prismarine, he turns to Gem, who is familiar enough with both of their shenaniganry to not question it.
Yeah, you guys are so weird. Alright, I'll help.
She shows him to the farm, and Pix promises an IOU. Though unlike those he's been giving the other hermits, he can't simply return to Empires and escape paying Gem, since, she's there too. Returning to Zedaf, the swimming pool becomes the center of an obstacle course planned for the army of pigs. Pixelriffs leads them on a test run, riding Pixelriffs, and it all goes well until the fire section, which is more effective if the leader is Pigless Riffs. The two of them build a massive diving board to dangle a chain of pigs from, over the water so a broken lead doesn't become a perished piggy, clean a few pillagers out of the pig pen, and wrangle a mix of 11 other hermits and emperors to name and saddle up their hogs. And then begins the piggening. It turns out their dangling plan only works 2 pigs deep, but most of the pigs are unhurt, besides a little sogginess. The obstacle course is, well, I'm not sure if more successful is the word, but it's certainly a lot of fun. And hey, free barbecue at the end with your trophy! Pix stays around long enough to see the real trophy be put in the Hall of Zedvancements, and holds on to his own copy. This really does belong in a museum.
Speaking of history, the King of Hermitcraft spends his week getting his affairs in order, namely passing the ownership of his castle to Zombie Cleo, should he ever leave the server and be unable to return.
Right.
Yeah, so
Oh, here we go. Yes, I got it.
Hey,
I will sign this.
Just
I,
need to
Mythical
sign it.
Sausage, hereby give
Oh.
the Crassel
That's
to
kinda
Zombie Cleo in the event I leave the server. Okay, perfect. I will sign this.
Just
I think that-
sign the book,
Yeah.
close
Cool.
it, and it's legally binding.
Yeah, so like right here,
I
you
feel
know,
like
make like a
this
hole
is
here or
gonna
something.
Mythical
backfire.
Yeah.
Sausage.
Yeah, that'd be...
Done. Legally binding
You're gonna
contract. The
come back.
Crassel is yours in the event I leave and unable to return with lore.
News travels quickly around the server, and so Sausage gets a little lost looking for the perimeter so he can pet the dragon. Luckily, Gem gives him directions, and Sausage is astounded by the size of the place, let alone the dragon. Dragons aren't the only thing on his mind, though. It's nearly Christmas time, and his secret Santa has delivered. Cubfan has gifted Sausage a kaleidoscope of color, and it certainly is an explosion.
That is really cool. I wonder, can I die in there? Oh! Okay, it's fine. No, I don't want to die. I'm good.
After baiting Green to check out the present he left for Scar last week, he and Hawkeye decide to burn Jimmy's house. Nothing like arson to warm you up in a snowy mountain. Around Pearl's area, he finds the spot she reserved for him. Sausage jumps into a time-lapse to build a funky observatory while being observed by funky aliens. He decides he wants a way to communicate with Pearl when he goes home, so he visits Sanctuary for materials. He discovers the portal is shrinking, so an interdimensional communicator is definitely in order. He gathers his materials from Sanctuary, checking on Hermes while he's there, and brings back the essence of Sanctuary. Mixing his head and Pearl's head with the essence of Sanctuary turns out to create a robot named Sunny placed outside of his observatory. He's very cute. Sunny isn't the only new kid on the block this week. Joel is back to his child-making ways, and this week he has 2 new children after a mistletoe incident with Ollie and the ensuing forced marriage. Mandy Main and Rat Ruck soon disappear, but Joel seems to have bigger concerns. His furry arc has ended after his carved pumpkin cat ears have returned to their original form.
You place your cat ears.
Luckily, Joel's Secret Santa has arrived with a scavenger hunt to distract him from his loss. Starting from the Christmas village, he is led to the UFO at the Spawn village, then to Scarland, where he gets a surprise. He then arrives at the Rift in search of his present, only to find an empty present box that has already been opened by Grian. Joel tracks Grian down, and after some searching, recovers the raw gold from his present. Their conversation then turns to the shrinking Rift portal, and they decide that it might be best to let the other empires know it's time to head home.
Maybe I'll go tell all the other empires that maybe it's a sign.
Before he leaves Hermitcraft, though, Joel needs to finish the Empire's Christmas tree and decorate it. While decorating, Sausage drops by to help out and discuss the rift.
Lovely jabbly,
I like
as we
it.
say in England.
That's what they do say in England, yes. I've heard.
You've heard, yeah.
Yes. And
Okay, well, that's not going.
Tree finished, Joel returns home through the rift to Empires, and flies back to his beloved Stratos.
Stratos' next-door neighbor, Scott Smager, is making the most out of Hermitcraft, and it hasn't stopped him from making everywhere he lives cute. Scott gives a tour of his new Scarland apartment, including the under-the-stairs room for Jimmy. Now it's time for an adventure at Spawn, since there's apparently an Empire's Christmas village and a Secret Santa for Scott to get involved in. Scott's Secret Santa is Joel, and, finding a Christmas hat along the way, he decides to do a scavenger hunt. Each of the clues are hidden around the server, and in the end Joel gets coal. And some raw gold, but mostly coal. Jem takes a visit to Scarland, and Scott takes her around his new apartment before she declares that she needs to murder him.
Oh, I love it! You'll have to come see my house at some point. This is awesome.
Scott allows her to murder him, as he wants one of his own heads to hand in for Cleo's statue project in the Christmas village, before Jem offers to let him see the headroom in her base. Not one to pass up an opportunity, Scott asks to be put pride of place in the ceiling cage of the dungeon.
In a cage, what will he do? Wait, that feels oddly familiar.
Nothing. He'll do nothing. He's trapped there now. That's all.
Me and you in a dungeon feels oddly familiar, Jem.
Jem's base may not have much of an interior besides the dungeon, but she does have diamond decor that Scott tries to steal, and he also breaks a window on his way out. Remember that under-the-stairs room for Jimmy? Well, that was made as Jimmy had left a sign trying to claim Scott's apartment for his own. Scott, of course, decides if he gives Jimmy his own room, he'll stop trying to claim the whole apartment. He's right. When Jimmy and some visitors come over, Jimmy is delighted to learn of his new, fully furnished room in Scarland under the stairs.
He's got my... Wait, how did you get my head? Wait.
Don't ask questions about that.
Some more highlights included from the big stream night is Scott getting his very own hot guy bow and Ollie dying. Meanwhile, in Chromia,
the opposition rises to Scott's new apartment as Jimmy begins his week in Scarland, where he has been arguing over the prime real estate. However, the two have reconciled and agreed to share the apartment, as Jimmy discovered Scott built him a room in the building. After a brief tour of the Empire's Christmas base, Jimmy is presented with a Secret Santa. The Secret Santa in question is Ollie, whose extravagant nature is not missed by Jimmy, as he receives 2 discs from the Ollie pod, which plays Christmas music specially curated for the sheriff.
May I have your attention, please? Will the real sheriff please stand up?
Yeah, I'll stand.
He's standing. Sheriff, please stand up.
Jimmy's ears are also blessed by an improv song from Ollie and Sausage about Mambo. Turns out, while everyone was having a great time singing Christmas carols, Scott and Joe knew the rift was slowly closing and headed back to Empires. Except they forgot to tell everyone else, and now the portal is only 1 block wide. Jimmy's solution to all this is to stay on Hermitcraft, but alas, that is impossible. The Sheriff's Week concludes by drinking his last festive beverage on Hermitcraft, saying goodbye to his new hermit friends, and hopping back through the rift to Empires. After that ordeal, Jimmy is back to his original form. He's a small toy again.
And with that, join us next week for more chaos and shenanigans. Thank you for watching, liking and subscribing, and thanks to everyone helping out with the project. Check them all out down below.